What's up, guys? AverageKiwiGuy here. How y'all doing? So it's been a while since we've done a Star Wars Rebels episode review. Just with obviously with the mid-season break, and I think I missed the last couple episodes. Just with real life stuff. But definitely a very exciting last part to the season. I did check out the trailer, the trailer reactions there for you guys if you want to check it out for the end of basically the last part of Star Wars Rebels. You know, this is the very last few episodes that we're gonna get for Rebels until they move on to another I guess show, whatever they're gonna choose to do, Disney. But the season premiere, the first episode out of the blocks, Jedi Knight. Whew, my goodness. Answered some very big questions. Some very big questions. Or a major question that Rebels has always presented throughout the entire thing. So, just a big heads up, guys. If you have not seen this episode, I am going to spoil it. So, especially for this one, if you are a fan of Rebels and you don't want to be spoiled, please turn off the video now. I appreciate you tuning in, but I don't want to ruin this for you guys. Go and watch it. Come on back. You'll know what we're talking about then. And you won't be ruined. It won't ruin the episode for you. So please go and watch it, okay? Because I'm about to spoil the biggest thing in the episode right now, okay? Alright. Fair warning. So spoilers are incoming. So, Kanan. Kanan dies. Kanan dies. He gets a haircut. You know, he takes the mask off and everything, and he goes out on his first mission and dies. But in a very cool way. I liked how he died. Though I don't understand how his eyes healed themselves. You know, just magically. It seemed to I was like, wait, what? So he force healed his blindness or something, like just because he's, you know, obviously he's in his dying, like he's doing this honorable act. The force healed his eyes. It's like he can just see his friends and, you know, the woman he loves for the last time before, you know, explosion and dead. Okay, you know. It was just a weird little touch. It was a weird touch that I didn't think was necessary. But, a very cool way for him to go out. Because this was always going to happen. It was always going to happen that, you know, because obviously the original trilogy, you don't have these two rebels running around with lightsabers. It just doesn't happen. You don't see that. So out of the two of them, Kanan was always the one who was probably gonna die. Now, I always kind of figured at some point Kanan was gonna make that ultimate sacrifice. You know, he's the master, he's the leader of the group. Well, I think like co-leader, because like Hera is like, you know, a leader as well. So I always put him like co-leader. It's like Hera does the business side, and like Kanan is the mystical side, sort of thing. I always kind of put them those two, but he's one of the leaders of that group. And then obviously being the master to Ezra, I always figured he was going to make that ultimate sacrifice. I didn't know it was going to be in the season, you know, mid-season premiere. Like, that was when they were going to do it. Because I was like, okay, so like Jedi Knights, you know, that's when they go and rescue Hera, and there'll probably be some crazy thing that happens. But also, you had Doom there. That's the next episode we'll talk about. It's, you know, I just assumed that was gonna like get into some questions about Kanan and stuff like that. No, no. But it was a very epic moment. A very epic moment, and like it didn't feel cheap in any way. I don't think. I think Kanan had reached his peak. Like I don't think. The only thing that they hadn't really explored with Kanan was him and Hera. That took way too long to get to. Was him and Hera. It was just like, it always seemed like they would put them in different story arcs. Like, you know, Hera was off with the rebellion, and Kanan was off with Ezra doing Jedi stuff. That was always it. And they were always separated by the story. And then they sort of made a last minute push to get those two together and to kind of realize that they had these feelings. And they always had those feelings. I just thought like they just never put them to the front. But they always tease that. Like even in season 1 and stuff, they had it there. It was just they never really put it to the forefront. This time they did about episode or 2 of where they really like kissy scenes and stuff like that. Like I get it, it's a kids show and they don't really want to do too many romantic things, but I mean, come on. Like I think kids grow up way too fast these days. They'll find it seeing that stuff. And let's face it, I think a lot of adults watch Rebels too. So but I thought that always took too far. But, Kanan, I always felt, I think he was at that point. And I think Ezra's at that point now where he's reached the limit of Kanan's knowledge of the Force, of the, being a Jedi and stuff. Because Kanan was never completed as a Jedi Knight. He was a Padawan when everyone was killed. So he never had his full training, so he could never give a full training to Ezra. Which I think, like, obviously when we get into Doom, the next episode, we'll start to get into, like, the future for Ezra. But I do think this was probably the peak of what Kanan could get to. So ending him now is okay. And it gives a big kick to the end of the season in big dramatic fashion. So yeah, the scene itself, like, it was badass. It was a badass scene with him just holding that explosion back. I thought like Hera was gonna go out and just like hold on to him, but he like freezes her in place, pushes her away, and then the weird eye thing happens, and then pushes the entire ship away as the explosion envelops him. It was very cool. It was a very cool scene. For Kanan to go out on. I loved it. I thought it was very, very good. I am sad to see Kanan go though. I always thought like he was always the steady one to steady the ship, to take somewhat of the annoyingness away from Ezra a little bit, because Ezra can kind of be that young kid, a little whiny in places. Yeah. So Kanan was always that nice, steady, sort of guy to have there to balance all that out. But maybe like now we might get a little more Zeb, because he's been put in that background for a long time. The past sort of really like season and a half really, he's not really been up the forefront. I mean, he's had an episode or two, but not really been in the forefront of what he was in the previous seasons. So maybe he'll get a little more go now. Maybe he'll get a little more go. So yeah, that was like the big thing. That was the big thing from this episode, was Kanan being killed. I mean, then you look at the stuff like right at the start, you got Thrawn talking with Tarkin, and then like him referencing Krennic and saying, "Hey, we're deciding between these two projects. The upgraded TIE Fighter, which is the TIE Defender, or Project Stardust, which is the Death Star." That's the whole Rogue One thing and all the rest of it. I love how they're like meshing all this together, and like Tarkin's like, "Look, I only see Krennic's project as a whole waste of time, lots of wasting of money and stuff like that. I like your project, Thrawn, but you have to go to the Emperor and prove yourself to him." Like Thrawn's like, "Well, yeah, Emperor likes my project better. Like he's in favor of my project." And he's like, "Well, no, you're gonna have to go there and sell it to him again," sort of thing. Like, this is kind of the failings of the Empire, right? The Emperor kind of fell for the sort of big gun, like the big, massive, big gun thing. Fell in love with it. And even Tarkin did. Like, you see that in Rogue One, where he fell in love with the Death Star. Like, when he saw it first fire on Jeddah, he's like, you could tell he just fell in love with that. Like, even through his CGI face. And the Emperor has the same problem. Just falls in love with the concept, falls in love with the planet killer. But if he had chosen the TIE Defender, the Empire would have won. Because the X-Wings can't keep up with the TIE Defender. They would literally have had to make better fighters than the X-Wing to actually figure it out. But this was always the failing of the Empire. So you're starting to see that, like, the Emperor maybe not making the right decisions at the right times, and the kind of the first pin falling, that's the first drop of blood essentially of the Empire, where the rebels kind of get that one up on them, and it's just these little victories that kind of end up spiraling into the collapse of the Empire. So I like that, and how the Thrawn basically had to leave, and take the Chimera and go to the Coruscant to sell his project again. Leaving Price in charge. Leaving Price in charge to take care of, he has Hera captured at this point, and all that stuff. I like the scene with him, with Thrawn and Hera, where she's in basically the torture not the torture chamber. It was Price's office, they said, but I think it was just like a torture chamber, where she's basically battered down, and he's like kind of talking to her about the Kalakori and stuff, and I like that's referencing back to Thrawn of old. This was always something that Thrawn was, where he loved the culture of the people that he was fighting. That's how he understood the people that he was fighting, was the culture. And he's trying to understand the Kalakori more, and like he's using it to get into Hera's head, right? He's using it to get into Hera's head, but like it was very cool. And it was a good way of seeing like the amateurish Price, how she's just like press the button, like yes, shock, shock, shock. Where you have Thrawn, who's like the master, playing the mind games, bringing something in that's directly important to Hera to throw her off her game, to then hopefully get the lips moving a little bit, get some stuff out of her. I was just kind of sad that Thrawn had to go. That was the only thing I was a little sad about there. But that's going to be one of the other big questions of this end of the season is, what does happen to Thrawn? What does happen to Thrawn after this? Because we do know that he plays a role in the end of the Empire. So for those who haven't read the Aftermath books, he's actually referenced in the Aftermath books, where he actually helps the remnants of the Empire that are worthy to go out into the outer reaches. He's sort of helped create the system to map a way out to the outer reaches, like the basically the untraversed unknown regions of the galaxy, because the Chiss Ascendancy's out there. That's where his people are out there. So he does play a role. I just wonder how they're going to play this into Rebels. So yeah, that's kind of a big question that we're going to hopefully get answers to within the next coming weeks or months or whatever. How long these last few episodes take to come out. I do like these double episodes though. Like, I know it makes the season go quick, but I do like it's kind of like an hour long thing. Like it makes it a little more substantial, and I like how it, both episodes connect into each other. So yeah, that was a big thing. Then obviously the big Great Escape thing, where they make these gliders out of nothing really, and they glide in, and they must hit thermals all the way along because they're forever flying. They're like magical force gliders that seem to keep flying. And that's how they kind of sneak in, and Kanan kind of has this badass moment where he's climbing up the side of the building and then cuts his way in, kind of like what we saw in the trailer. And Hera's kind of a little bit loopy from the mind probe juice, and it was a cool little scene, like her kind of being a little loopy, and him giving her the Kalakori, and she's like, "This is mine." Like, Kanan, this is not a gift. It's mine. This is not a gift? Like that. I like that. It was a nice sort of comical little thing to throw in there, for what will end up being a very dramatic ending. So yeah, it was nice to have that little bit in there. Obviously the stuff with Sabine and Ezra too going off finding the ship. That were like a little side thing there. There's a little side thing. By the way, I really like. Obviously, Sabine's looked like this for the past sort of season, but I like her like new hair color and stuff. It's a more toned down, because I think like they're trying to say she's more mature now too, which she is. It's kind of like Ezra, like he went through a change in looks as well. But I like her new look. I like her new hair. It's like a little more toned down. I like the look. I think it's very nice. But she's still Sabine. I like her. So yeah, and then Price making the big rookie mistake and just blowing up her biggest asset that she has on the planet, which is a fuel depot. Which then directly affects everything they're trying to do there just to get the rebels. It's like, it's silly thinking, but it's very Imperial thinking, because Imperials, like, you don't think of that mass, like, it's like you have to get your target. Don't worry about the after effects. We'll deal with it. We've got resources out the wazoo. We don't have to worry about that stuff. Fire on it, blow it up. Don't matter if we blow up walkers. We don't matter if we kill people around it. Doesn't matter if we don't have any more fuel. We'll just truck fuel in, or we'll make the entire population build new fuel tanks. It don't matter. So she's in that frame of mind and just blows it up with the AT-AT, and it was a big explosion. It was a big ass explosion, and then the badass scene. It was a badass scene. But yeah, I mean, a very, very cool episode. A big, one to start it off with. Kind of started a little slow. Like the entrance was a little like, okay, like they didn't do too much to get in. It was just gliders and stuff. Kanan, obviously with the hair cutting and the shave and all the rest of it, kind of, preparing him, like, he's kind of moving into that next stage. I think he had a feeling too that he was probably going to have to sacrifice himself at some point. That's why he was so keen on getting to Hera. I don't think he thought that it was going to happen right then, but I think he thought like his time was winding down. Like maybe he's getting that feeling. Maybe he's seeing visions and stuff. It was a nice. I think it was a nice episode to end with Kanan. It was a nice episode to end with Kanan. He had sufficient enough like spotlight. He got to be a badass. He went out like a badass too. Just kind of showing. I would like to have seen him fight the bounty hunter. What's his name? Rook. Like that he just like lost his lightsaber so easily, and then when he tried to pick it up, he guts thing, and then just the simple force push blocks him off. Like, Kanan, you're better than that, man. You're better than that. Like, that was my only hiccup, I think, with the episode, was how easily Kanan got beaten there. But he just sort of like just force pushes him off. Yeah, that was a bit of a bit of a sad part there. But I mean, like, Hera, telling him that she loves him. The nice moment they have on top, then the ship coming down. It was very nice. It was a very nice scene. I liked it. But we lost Kanan. We got a question answered. It was one of the big questions that this season had to answer. To where they go now. Obviously, probably the biggest one will be Ezra. Like where Ezra will end up. Obviously, we get a showdown with Darth Sidious, with the Emperor. I don't know if that is in person or is, just a mind thing. I have a feeling it's a mind thing, but because I can't imagine the Emperor coming to Lothal. I just don't. Like, maybe to check out, maybe like Thrawn convinces him to come see the TIE Defenders and stuff, and maybe like because Sidious thinks Ezra's worth it, because you gotta remember Sidious loves like young Force users because they're easily manipulated. He can, sort of twist them the way he wants. That's why he loved Anakin. He can twist them the way he wants, and then it creates rivals for Vader. So so Darth gets better. Proves that he's actually meant to be his apprentice. Because, Sidious ain't about Vader getting too powerful or not being powerful enough. So that's always a thing that that he's always going at Vader with. So Ezra would be a big target for him. So maybe it's worth him going to Lothal in person. But probably might be a mind thing, I think. Probably a mind fight, I guess. Because we got little pieces of that in the next episode, which we'll talk about in the next video. But yeah, like I said, really, really good episode. I'm loving it. Great way to come into the new season and create a big buzz. To just sort of go with that and create a big emotional sort of end to it. And then also put it on Ezra as well. Like Ezra has to take the lead now, and Hera can come out to the forefront a little more. Be General Syndulla, because we know she survives because of Rogue One. So we'll see. We'll see all about that. But yeah. All right, guys, that's it for us. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you next time. Peace. Bye.